Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to our Lake Lenape Dam opening ceremony. For those who don't know me, I grew up in Mays Landing. Oh, I'm Carl Patali. I grew up in Mays Landing, living here on this lake almost my entire life. I've lived through the highs and the lows, when there was water and when there was none. My passion for this project stems from my personal experiences and from seeing how important this dam is to our community. In 1975, issues arose with the dam. The water levels became inconsistent, and due to safety concerns, the lake was drained. For 4 years, instead of children learning to swim and being able to play in the water, the area that once was Lake Lenape was nothing more than mud with a very small stream running through the middle. My mother, Mary Bowie, became the unofficial spokesperson for the Lake Lenape Homeowners Association. This association was comprised of Lake Lenape residents as well as the owners of Lake Lenape Park, Ed and Winnie Young. Their goal was to address the need to repair the dam. My mother attended many meetings and spoke to anybody that would listen. And finally, in 1978, the dam was deeded over to Hamilton Township and the repairs began. Because of the integral part my mother played, once the repairs were completed, she was asked to help close the gates, which allowed the lake to rise again. Fast forward to the 2000s, the gates that controlled the level of the lake began to malfunction, and attempts to repair them were unsuccessful. In February of 2011, I was appointed to the Dam Committee. From the time of my appointment until 2019, not much happened. However, in 2020, Congressman Van Drew and Haddon Antonucci entered the picture. Congressman Van Drew, knowing that money would be an issue, made it a top priority to secure federal funds designated for replacing the dam. Haddon Antonucci, whose roots are here in Mays Landing, asked his mother who should he connect with about the dam. His mom, or as I like to call her, Rami Drozdoff, said, "I know just the guy. Give Carl a call." After speaking with Haddon, we realized we had a very short amount of time to apply for this grant. To make it happen, county and township employees jumped in, numerous businesses wrote letters of support, and hundreds of people signed our petition. All of this resulting in being awarded the Congressional Community Project Funding Grant for $4.6 million. Behind me is a culmination of a team effort consisting of Congressman Van Drew in his office, Haddon Antonucci, Atlantic County, the Township of Hamilton, WSP Engineers, and South State Incorporated. As we celebrate this wonderful day for Mays Landing, our top priority is ensuring everyone's safety and security. Do not hesitate to alert an officer if you notice anything wrong. If any disruptions occur, please allow law enforcement to handle the situation. Thank you to the Hamilton Township Police Department and Sheriff for organizing today's security. With that, we have a spectacular ceremony for everyone to enjoy. Today's speakers represent every level of government. This includes United States Congressman Jeff Van Drew, American Rivers Action Fund President Tom Kiernan, Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson, Assemblywoman Claire Swift, and County Commissioner Amy Gatto. I will introduce each official individually when it's their turn to speak. After speeches, we will watch a technical presentation on the engineering behind this remarkable dam. Then we will enjoy a performance of God Bless America by the Davies Middle School Band, followed immediately by a helicopter flyover from the United States Coast Guard and the official ribbon cutting. Our first speaker is Congressman Van Drew. Congressman Van Drew represented South Jersey in the House of Representatives for 4 terms, nearly 8 years. He serves as chairman of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Oversight and as a senior member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. He is a champion of strong infrastructure and has worked with Hamilton Township and Atlantic County on the Lake Lenape Dam for the past 5 years. Congressman?
Good day for you, right?
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, did we get a beautiful day or what? Yeah. Let me get my sunglasses off. So I'm going to warn you, I have a few thoughts, and I'm not going to go on too long, I promise. But a few things I wanted to share with you all, because I think not only is today something that's tactile. You can sense it, you can feel it, you can see it, a dam, safety, structure, all that goes along with that. It's representative and symbolic of something else. Before I speak about that, I want to remember, we're going to thank a lot of people today, they all deserve it. Carl and Haddon, that were a great team working on this together. Haddon, you know, he's in Washington, D.C. now. He's a big shot, but when he was a regular guy, he was here in Hamilton Township. And Carl, you're still a regular guy, right? No, but they're both great. They're both great, and we appreciate them. Symbolism. Symbolism matters. Now, I realize that this is not the Hoover Dam that we accomplished here. But the importance of it, in some ways, is just as significant, and I'm going to tell you why. America is a nation that was based on doers, people who worked hard, who were faster, who were smarter, who believed in America. That's why I asked all you young folks, do you love America when you came out here? Because you're going to hear sometimes that America is not the greatest country in the world, that it's not an amazing place, that it's just like everywhere else. It's called globalism. It is not. But we have to make sure that it doesn't become that. Now, when I think of America, I think of a lot of things. I think of freedom. I think of a strong nation. I think of the best military on the face of the earth. And I think about that nation of doers that made things happen. We lead. We build. We forge ahead. We don't acquiesce. We are the best. We are the smartest. And there's nothing wrong with being that. We're taught sometimes today that isn't a good thing. It is a good thing. It is who we are as Americans. Part of that is making sure that the most essential parts of government function and get things done. It was amazingly hard, quite frankly, to get this grant. It was amazingly hard to get things done in Washington. It takes years to accomplish goals, things that should be done easily. We had a dam that was over 100 years old that had holes in it. And still we had to fight like hell to get it done. So I think this dam is symbolic of what made America, because today and yesterday and the months and the few years before, we came together, Republican, Democrat. We came together, state government, local government, county government, and federal government. We came together to make sure we kept our people safe, that the right thing happened. That's what today is about. Today is symbolic of that. It is, in a way, symbolic of those that did the transcontinental roadways, that did the interstate highways, that did the railways, that built the Suez Canal. All of it's the same thing. So I would say to you, and I'm going to be a little pointed, but it's the way I am. I have a problem, by the way. One is I talk a little too long. Second thing is whatever is here and here comes out here, so forgive me. We cannot get bogged down on what is always politically correct, what we have to exactly say that's right, by using the right pronouns, by just being so perfect that we just don't stand for anything. We have to do stuff. We have to make stuff happen. We have to stand tall. We have to love America. That today, that beautiful dam there, believe it or not, represents that. Now, the other aspects I want to talk about, besides the symbolic part, are the technical engineering. And I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail because we have people much smarter than me, much better at it than me, that understand it more than me, that are going to do a little bit of that. But suffice it to say, we had a dam that was over 100 years old, and now we have one of the best dams in the United States of America. This is true, this is fact. One of the best in the United States of America in its class. We have a dam that's safe. We have a dam that's engineered right. We have a dam that is the largest now. See what you can aspire to when you believe in America and believe in yourself? That is the largest dam of its type in the entire state of New Jersey. It's a big deal. And the engineers are going to talk a little bit more about that. This all got me thinking, though. This is not just a new idea, and it gets me thinking about a lot about America and what we need to do. But one of the things we need to do, and you're going to hear a little tiny bit about that today, is we got to fix our stuff. We have to fix those roads. We have to fix those bridges. We have to fix those tunnels. We have to build them. We have to make them happen. And we have to fix our dams. So I have legislation, the acronym is DAMS, which stands for legislation that would do three things. One, bring money in, because it always takes money. Secondly, besides bringing money in, it would also ensure that as we went forward, that states would have a little more flexibility to do what they need to do. Not every state is the same. Not every state has the same issues, but we get bogged down, and this is the other part of the legislation, in meaningless and stupid, no, I don't have a better word, red tape. I'm tired of it. I want to get this country going. We want to get moving. We want to lead. So that legislation has been put in for those that are really interested in stuff like that. It's HR 5414. I just want to, and I don't like to go through lists of names, but I just want to mention a few people. I want to thank the county executive. He's here today. I want to thank him for his energy, his expertise, and his money, quite frankly. Sorry, it's the old, same old, that's why they like me sometimes, Dan, you don't feel bad. And you put your money where your mouth is. Thank you, I appreciate you. I want to thank the leaders of Hamilton Township. I already mentioned Carl, but all of the Township Committee, Mayor Schenker, all of whom became supportive, all of whom did everything they could. And by the way, they also put money where their mouth is as well, once we got that big 4.6 million in there. And of course, Carl. I want to thank the Davies Middle School. I am so glad you all are here. First of all, you got outside the day you'd normally be stuck in school, right? So that's a really good thing. I'm proud of you. And I want to speak directly to you all for a minute. I want you to know what I started when I was talking to a few of you over there. Believe in yourself. Believe in America. Believe you can achieve whatever you want to achieve right here from South Jersey and whatever you do in life. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you cannot. You hear me? You believe in yourself? I can't hear you guys. Come on. Do you believe in yourself? Yes. Do you believe in America? Yes. All right. Thank you for being here. I want to thank the Hamilton Township Police Department, the New Jersey State Police, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Let me talk about the police and all those that are here to protect us today. I wish we didn't need them. I'm not going to talk about that today. I wish we didn't. I remember going to events, even as a congressman when I started, but certainly at other levels of government, where we didn't need to have anybody. Unfortunately, for a little while, those days are done. But that's not going to stop us. We'll have the protection, but we are still going to push and stand and work for those things that are right. We can't forget about this ceremony. A lot of good people right here from Atlantic County and South Jersey worked on this, and we need to be here. So I thank you. I thank law enforcement for their work, and I want to let you know, the Sheriff's Department, all of you, I am with you. By the way, you've got great people across the board here. One of my favorite guys is the Sheriff, Joe Donahue. Some of you know him as Tokyo Joe. What a sheriff, man. He's America's sheriff. What a great guy. And Sheriff, you know I don't say that all the time about everybody. Again, I want to thank FEMA. I want to thank the Coast Guard, which are near and dear to me. We're doing a lot for them. I won't talk to you about that. We're bringing record amounts of money into our Coast Guard. Record. Never seen before. And I'm proud of that. And it's because we want to keep him here, and we are going to keep him here in South Jersey. Proud of the work that they do all the time. Look, I'm going to cut this because I know, my staff always gives me these things. And there's all kinds of good ideas, and I'm terrible because I digress and I get into other things. It's whatever the mood strikes me. But I want you to know something. I believe in you. I believe in South Jersey. I believe in America. And I want you to as well. God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you, Congressman. Now I'd like to bring up Tom Kiernan, President and CEO of American Rivers Action Fund. Tom, as president of American Rivers Action Fund, a national organization dedicated entirely to protecting and restoring rivers across the country, his organization is endorsing Congressman Van Drew's Dams Act. Tom?
Thank you very much. It is wonderful to be here with all of you and to help celebrate the extraordinary leadership of Congressman Van Drew. I do want to take a few minutes to talk about our dams in the country. We currently have over 500,000 dams in this country, many of which are serving useful purposes, whether to help get drinking water for recreation. But too many of our dams are not safe, are not in good repair. And the Dams Act that the Congressman is introducing will help address those needs. Now, to share a little bit more about our dams, I want to ask the middle school students a question. If you came home with a grade of a D, would your parents be happy? Would your teachers be happy? So here's the deal. The Association of Civil Engineers of this country gave our dams throughout this country, actually it was a D+, but I'm not sure I give a lot of credit to the D+. Point is, we have a lot of dams that need a lot of help. Now, some of the dams, frankly, have outlived their useful purpose and should be taken down. But many of the dams need repair. They need some investment so that they can be restored to supporting the community, whether for recreation, whether for commerce, whether for other useful purposes. Now, the Dams Act that the Congressman has introduced will help do that. It helps does reauthorize the high hazard potential dam grant program to help get money to communities. It also gives guidance to states to prioritize where they're putting their funding and their attention, because some dams, as I said, should come down, some dams need an investment. So the Congressman is putting forward a logical, bipartisan, common sense piece of legislation that will improve the infrastructure in this country. At American Rivers Action Fund, we have a saying, life depends on rivers. Our lives do depend on water. The majority of our drinking water we get from our rivers. Our rivers are sources of commerce. They're sources of recreation. Our rivers are places for solace and peace. And they're also places for great recreation. And so American Rivers Action Fund strongly applauds the leadership of Congressman Van Drew and his Dams Act. And we thank you all for being here today to help celebrate the extraordinary progress you have made here, and frankly, how you are a role model, not just for New Jersey, but for the country. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Tom. Now I'd like to bring up Denny Levinson. Denny Levinson has served as the county executive for over 25 years. First winning election in 1999, Atlantic County jointly owns the Lenape Dam with Hamilton Township and has been a strong partner through this entire project. You want that? You can have it. Absolutely.
I broke my back. I'm not as decrepit as I look. There's a reason for this. Your band leader. Show you how long I've been around. I taught him in school. And I do want to say something about the Deary family. He comes from a long line of war heroes. I don't know if you knew that or not. And there's nobody that gave so much to this country as your family. And it's appreciated. And by the way, my staff appreciates this dam because they don't have to get phone calls 3 times a day about what's going on. And I can see there's a lot of people here from Hamilton Township, mostly Mays Landing. And I want to compliment you all on your ingenuity. Because before we fixed it, we would come out maybe 2-3 times a month and take steel plates out, mattresses, pillows, blankets, and it did work. You know, you all must be sleeping on bed springs now. one after another. And it's just extraordinary what we have. When I would call up dam safety, I would say, I want to report on this. And as Tom said, it's in bad shape. I said, well, I want it written, just in case, God forbid, something happens. I don't want this to be like the Johnstown flood. So we got a letter, and I have it. We believe it's safe for everybody except the ones that are downriver. We may lose, listen to this now, we may lose 3 or 4 homes. And that's okay? No, it's not okay. And as Carl said, we all like to take credit for things because we're politicians. This would not happen without your congressman. The worst thing I can say about Jeff Van Drew, it's a little long-winded, but other than that, nobody has served this area with such intensity than Jeffrey Van Drew. This would not be a reality. We've been asking for it forever. And he did it. And thank you. And my staff thanks you. And the people, especially the ones downriver, thank you. God bless you all, and thank you so very much. I'm honored to be your county executive.
Thanks, Danny. Now I'd like to bring up Claire Swift, New Jersey Assemblywoman. A lifelong Atlantic County resident, Assemblywoman Claire Swift has represented the New Jersey 2nd Legislative District in the State Assembly since 2022. She received her JD from the Widener School of Law. Claire?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here for the grand opening of the Lake Lenape Dam. This project is so much more than concrete and steel. It is about protecting our families, safeguarding our neighborhoods, and investing in the long-term resilience of the community. The Lake Lenape Dam has always been central to Mays Landing, but it is also classified as a Class 1 high hazard dam. That meant that the stakes were high if this structure were to fail. The impact could be catastrophic. Today, we can proudly say that risk has been met head-on. I especially want to thank and acknowledge Congressman Jeff Van Drew, whose leadership was instrumental in securing $4.6 million in FEMA funding to make this project feasible. This funding, combined with the hard work of engineers, county leaders, and the community partners, has ensured that Lake Lenape will remain a safe and vibrant resource for generations to come. This grand opening represents more than the completion of a construction project. It represents peace of mind for local families, protection for our homes and environment, and progress towards a stronger and safer Atlantic County. To everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring this project across the finish line, thank you. Your dedication ensures that this dam will stand not only as a safeguard, but also as a symbol of what we can achieve when all levels of government work together for the good of our communities. Congratulations to all involved, and thank you for allowing me to share in this proud moment for Mays Landing and Atlantic County. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Claire. Now I'd like to bring up Pat Ennis for a technical presentation on the engineering of Lenape Dam. Yeah.
It's all right. Thank you, Carl. Thanks everybody for coming out today. My name is Patrick Ennis. I'm with WSP. We're the design engineers for this dam. We've been involved with this project now since 2017, from conceptual design through the construction. I got 2 members of my team here, Nick Libinati and Tom Langdon. They're on the site every day on the construction, and our contractor, South State, Doug Adolphson's here as well. How about a hand for South State doing a great job there. And also with us every step of the way through design is Zach Cole from Dam Safety, and he came out today too from the Department of Dam Safety, representing here today as well. So thanks all those people. Also, just want to thank Hamilton Township and Atlanta County for being good partners in this and working with us and being understanding through some of this process, as it wasn't always easy, but we're kind of getting to the end of the tunnel here and everything's looking good. To the students here, prepared a little presentation to give you a little bit of background, a little bit of design process that we went through in this project. So, Lake Lenape Dam was actually built in the mid-1800s. It was originally built to control the river. The dam being in place creates Lake Lenape, which is a 300-acre lake and the watershed of 200 square miles. Downstream is the Great Egg Harbor River, which flows to the Great Egg Harbor Bay, finally to the Atlantic Ocean. In 1920, the powerhouse was built to supply power to some of these factories and everything that was here. And then later on, a fish ladder was added in 2004, which you can see that wooden structure that goes up the dam. Since the installation of that fish ladder, there's been some species upstream that haven't been there in a while, like white perch and striped bass. So, all right, so let's look at parts of the dam, and you can see the middle screen there. The first part we want to talk about is the embankment, and you can see it there, and you can see it out here past the fish ladder. That's the wall that holds the water back. In this case, it's made mostly of earth and dirt. Again, the spillway is the main part in the middle. That controls flow and also helps during larger storms to control what flow goes downstream and control flooding upstream. Again, on this dam, there's a powerhouse, which was used for hydropower. And we weren't able to use it again for power, but we're able to use it for a bypass that helped for our low-level control. And in the fish ladder, you might think, what is a fish ladder? But it is a way of steps that help fish get from downstream past the dam to the upstream. And we've seen success here with the fish ladder that we have. So let's look, why was this dam reconstructed? First of all, the spillway that was in place had 3 pipes that went through it, which were leaking. There were voids, and they weren't easy to shut and control. Also, the gates on the powerhouse, they were over 100 years old, made of wood, and they were leaking. And they were very hard to operate, as Public Works in Hamilton might tell you. It used to take 2 people on a big wheel to lift those up and down. Also, the spillway, which was here, was a little bit undersized. It was too small to handle bigger storms. So what did we do? WSP, my company, got involved in the conceptual phase. So we reviewed all the old plans and reports that were prepared for this dam. The one bad thing is some of the older plans were no longer available. The powerhouse plans from 1920 were nowhere to be found. And the original 1800s plans, we don't know if they've ever existed. So we had to do a really good inspection of everything. We looked at the powerhouse, we looked at the spillway. Our team came out. We had underwater scuba divers looking at the structures underground, under the water. And we also did a geotechnical boring program throughout the embankment and also in the spillway to see what was going on beneath the surface. Which resulted in a ground penetrating radar, which we found were some voids in the embankment. And if you can see today, they're up there with the grouting program right now trying to fill in some of those voids. Also, we did a hydrologic and hydraulic analysis of the watershed and the spillway to determine what size spillway do we need for this dam. So with all that, we came up with a solution after a couple alternatives. And it is technically called a labyrinth spillway. Labyrinth is a complex structure, which this spillway is called because of the complex shape, mostly just a zigzag. It is now the largest labyrinth in New Jersey, so we're proud that Hamilton Township now houses the largest labyrinth spillway in New Jersey. Then, after we came up with all that design process, we started getting into what's the design going to look like. So we decided we were going to replace the powerhouse gates, and we put new stainless steel gates on the other side of the powerhouse upstream. We also installed motors on those gates, making the operation easier for the township. We came up with a new spillway. Lengthening the spillway, the old spillway was 122 feet. This current structure is over 600 feet of spillway length, so we can really handle larger storms. And also, we're doing an injection grouting program now as we speak, which is one of the final things that's going to fill all the voids and shore up the embankments. All right. So how was the construction sequenced? What do we do? Because we couldn't do everything at once, so we had to make 2 phases. First phase of construction was we wanted to fix the powerhouse. So we replaced the gates, put the new gates and the motors in, and then we also restored the concrete inside the powerhouse. Now that serves as our low-level outlet. That can control and lower the flow if we need. Once that was finished as the first phase, now we could bypass the flow from the lake to the ocean, and now we could reconstruct the spillway. So in the spillway reconstruction, we relocated the fish ladder, because as you can see right now, the fish ladder is in the way of the spillway. So we relocated the fish ladder to be in front of the powerhouse where the flow was going, and that's also attracting the fish upstream. Next was one of the hardest things about dam construction is we put in a temporary cofferdam, and you can see that in this picture, that wall that goes around the dam. There was one upstream, one downstream. And once that was installed, pumps were put in place to drain that water level so we could work in that area. And that was for over a year. We had that area dewatered so we can have construction. It was a pretty large operation, pretty big pumps were used, and ultimately it lowered the water enough for us to put in the new foundation for that spillway. So once we were able to dewater and build this spillway, we have our new labyrinth-shaped spillway. That spillway consists of 1,600 cubic yards of concrete and 390 tons of steel. So it's a pretty substantial structure. After that was done, we removed the cofferdams, replaced the fish ladder, and that's where we are right now in the construction. We're still working on the grouting, and there's some final finishing touches of some fence and paving and a flagpole that's going to be there. So my team of engineers comprised of a lot of different fields in engineering. There were civil engineers. There were under civil, there were water resource engineers that did the hydrology and hydraulics and sized the spillway. There were geotechnical engineers who did the boring program, determined what was needed for the foundation and the embankment improvements. Structural engineers were also involved to design the spillway and the reinforcement. We had mechanical engineers and electrical engineers to design the gates, review the powerhouse, and determine what electric loading would be needed to raise and operate those gates. Also, land surveyors were here to give us a survey of the property, tell us elevations, and also we had an archaeologist on site when the excavation was being done to check for artifacts and any cultural significance that we would find in this project. So that pretty much sums up the construction on a technical level, and you can see where we are today. And with that, Carl, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Patrick. Now I'd like to invite Amy Gatto. County Commissioner at Large Amy Gatto is a Hamilton Township local who formerly served as committeewoman and mayor. She has served on the County Commission for nearly a decade including a term as chair of the board, and has been a strong advocate for this project at the county level. She was also the one who suggested I be on the dam committee. I'm not sure she's really happy about that.
Thank you, Carl. Kids and public, there will be a test on all of that technical speak that you just heard, so please be prepared. Mayor Shanker, I see Committeeman Cheek, I see, thank you, Committeewoman Witherspoon. I also see former Committeewoman Link and Committeeman Pritchard, I think I saw somewhere. Also want to acknowledge our fellow commissioners that are here, June Burns and John Risley. And I'm proud to be here on behalf of our chairman, Rich Dace, who is a teacher and is a little busy right now. I did serve as mayor, and in 2013 we had Hurricane Irene that was dumping an enormous amount of water on the area, and our number one concern was whether or not this dam was going to break. And at one point, our OEM staff said, hey, can you go on the news and tell everybody everything's going to be okay and just reassure them? And I said, is it? And thankfully, we got through that. But this has been a labor of love for decades at this point, and something that really critically needed to get done. On March 17th, 2021, I have the email here from Haddon, who sent an email on behalf of the congressman and said the congressman is a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and wants to advocate for funding South Jersey infrastructure projects. Can you tell us your top two? And I replied to Haddon and said, my number one is replacement of the Lake Lenape Dam in Hamilton Township and the improvement of the corner of State Route 30 and Cologne Avenue. And my county commissioners can attest to my vocalness on both of these projects. Thanks to our county engineering staff. If you're here, can you all please just raise your hand so people know who you are. Our administrative staff, Hamilton Township staff, Brett Knoll, I hope your blood pressure will lower now. I don't know where you are, but now that you don't have to turn any wheels or anything anymore, I hope your blood pressure is going to go down. But working together to not only get the work on the dam continuing to move forward, but to then partner with Congressman Van Drew on the funding effort. The collaboration is how we're able to advance long-term objectives that we're all working on. It does not happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in a silo. Without Congressman Van Drew's advocacy for the funding, and by the way, it never mattered which side of the aisle he was on, he was always advocating for this area. Without our state representatives helping us cut through the bureaucracy of permitting and things like that at the state level, we would not be here without collaboration. So collaboration, patience, and persistency is how we can advance this forward. And I think the other important thing to mention is this is your tax dollars at work, okay? We as Hamilton Township and County of Atlantic taxpayers, we're gonna fund the bill for this no matter what. But because of Congressman Van Drew's efforts, the tax dollars that are collected federally and out there, right? He's making sure that those dollars are coming back here to us. It's our money at work. And it's just a matter of how hard are we gonna fight to have those dollars spent here in our community. And so for that, Congressman, I thank you truly. And I will be the first to sponsor a resolution in support of HR 5414. Is that what it is? I'll be happy to sponsor that at our next meeting. So with that, I say thank you to everybody who had a hand in this, and a thank you to the public for your patience. I also see our former chairman of the commissioner board, Formica, here too, who also was a huge proponent of helping to get all this done. So again, thank you to everybody for all of your effort, and what a great day. God bless America. Thank you.